Hey, what's good, y'all? It's C Will, and this is the Passive Income Network. On this podcast, we talk about creating assets that produce passive income. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment and say what's good. On this episode, we have a special podcast feature with Nathan Kaiser and AlgoDAO. So AlgoDAO is a community-owned and community-driven DAO incubator, launchpad, and an innovation pool purpose-built on the Algorand network. Shout out to the Algo fam. So let's bring Nathan in. Yo, what's good, Nathan?
See you all. All good, all good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm all right. As we said, a little off camera, got a little something in my throat, but we all good. The show goes on.
The show
So
goes on.
exactly. So let's get on right to it. Can you tell people who you are, and then kind of where you're at around the world?
Right, right. So, yeah, Nathan Kaiser, as you said, I'm originally a lawyer, been in crypto for a while since 2011. Spent a lot of time in Asia. A lot of time means like almost 20 years. So I do speak Mandarin. That's a
Oh,
bit
nice.
weird. And then spent almost 4 years in Boston, in Cambridge, which was a lot of fun. Now, kids getting bigger and all that, moved back to Switzerland. I'm originally from Switzerland, so now back here, spending most time here. I'm a double national, Taiwan and Switzerland. So I'm Taiwanese,
Oh,
which is
wow.
the Republic of China, weird thing. But,
Yeah.
yeah, so I kind of split my time between Taiwan and Switzerland. Now that COVID is slowly over, it's going to be a bit easier to travel. Not
Mhm.
been very easy the past 2 years. But yeah, no, happy to be on your show.
Oh, I'm happy to have you on too. It's been well awaited. People have been curious, and so thinking about AlgoDAO, as we're saying, let's talk to the audience as if they don't know what we're talking about, because most don't. Can you break down before we talk about AlgoDAO? Can you break down what a DAO is?
Right. What is a DAO? It's like a big club that's organized but not well organized, where there's a bunch of people coming together, some more busy, some more involved, some less, and they all sort of share a common goal, and they all contribute a bit to that goal. Some will be more passive; they may vote on stuff that comes up in the club. Some will actively help, and then actually much is done by voting, where people say like, "Oh, let's give a bit of money from the DAO, from the club fund, to those who help more, and give a bit less to those who help less." And then they set goals over time, and they say, "Oh, we need to change direction. Hey, let's improve this. Let's do that. Let's not do this." And that sort of club arrangement is very much like I don't know, call it like a Facebook group in the past or
Yep.
something,
Okay.
or like on GitHub, we got like a GitHub page, and it's a couple of people getting together and doing some code, and hey, I have an idea, I'm going to do something. Oh, let me check this out, and that's what a DAO is. It's like a couple people, and the couple means in crypto usually a lot.
Yeah.
So a DAO could start off small. It grows over time. Usually, you have like a core smaller number of people say, "Hey, let's create a DAO, guys." And it's like, okay, guys and girls. And they get together in a bar and they say, let's do a DAO. And then it's 4 people. And then the next day it's 7. And a
Yep.
year later, it's maybe 1,000 people. And it's not a company in the sense it's not clearly delimited. Also, the DAO stakeholders or stakeholdings are actually tokens, crypto tokens, and they can easily be transferred. It's like a club membership,
Okay.
and then you can easily transfer the club membership to somebody else, and then that other person is then the DAO member and helps or doesn't help, or votes or doesn't vote, and
Okay.
that's the DAO.
Yep. So decentralized autonomous organization. Thank you for that explanation. So private club, ownership through the token, participation as much as you want. Makes sense. Okay, now let's get to the. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's not a private club in the sense of anybody can join. No, there's no entry barrier, and
Okay.
that's a bit different. It's more of a public club actually. It's
Public.
more like anybody can join, and anybody can maybe on the DEX, decentralized exchange, and say, "Oh, I want to get some tokens. I want to be in the DAO as well." sort of a public open club. Anybody can join. People come, people go.
Makes sense. So still open source. Still open source. Yep. Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right. So let's get down to the stuff that people want to talk about. What is AlgoDAO and how does it help out or support the Algorand ecosystem?
Absolutely. So the AlgoDAO is really sort of a machinery with a couple moving parts that some function on their own and some need a bit of help and some are more core and some are less core. But basically the machine overall is helping projects that live or are born on the Algorand protocol to go to issue their tokens. It's a token issuing machine. So projects that haven't issued their tokens or only have done so in a very private manner, they can come to the DAO and they formulate their requirements on how they want to issue their tokens.
Yep.
And they set these parameters, and all of this is done on chain. So there's no humans involved actually. And then they set the parameters, and then the machine starts working. It's all on chain, it's all decentralized, can't be stopped, can't be played with. And then people can subscribe or buy into that project's plan. And when the machine says there's enough people interested in your project, in your token, then the machine spits out the token, all decentralized, all automatically, no humans involved.
I like
That's
it.
the core functionality.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because there's rug pulls happening. People are getting wrecked in the Algorand ecosystem lately with these random tokens and launches without projects, right? So you guys are an incubator. So you're getting these projects before they do all these things. You want them really early, if I'm correct. Can you expand on the incubator process? Like, how would a project even get involved if I had to drop a project, I want to do a token? How do I do that?
Right. Do you want me to talk for an hour or two or only 10 minutes? No, absolutely. So what happens is that in order to avoid exactly what he said about rock pools, we do have an entry barrier that then really shows the power of the DAO, because we have a tier system that works with a voting system to do a due diligence and do like a green check mark for the projects that can actually go on the DAO to be launched. And so let's say the project A, let's call it project A, they come to the DAO, they say hi, and then the different DAO stakeholders, there's a longer process where first the project fills out a form, a long form, a detailed form. And based on that form, the people around the DAO, and when I see the people around the DAO, it's really quite a, let's call it chaotic amount of people and teams who say, oh, this project is missing this part, this project is missing, or project A is missing this part, that part. And then they offer to help. And some of them will be helping for a fee. Some of them will be helping for fun. That's up to the different stakeholders, to that decentralized mass of people. They will help the project to grow up, which we call incubation.
Yep.
And once the incubation period is over and the different people and the project A and its team think, yeah, now we're ready, then there is a vote happening of some of the tiers of the stakeholders of the DAO that will say, we looked at it, this is not a rock pull, this is super important, we've seen that, and it's ready to go. So there is the one green check mark before they go and launch, and from there on it happens on its own. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm excited because we definitely need launch pads, incubators, 100%. So I'm loving it. Now let's talk more about y'all tokenomics. So this is some of the stuff that people have been, yes, I know. This is the stuff, this is what matters, right?
Right.
Like a part that people keep pointing out to me is there's something on there that says 1%, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but 1% goes or will be available for retail investors. And we're talking about the ADAO token. So
absolutely,
how does that work out, and why, if I'm correct, did y'all have about 1% for retail investors. It seems like it's mostly a VC token.
Right. Yeah. This has been a topic from the beginning, and I think in tokenomics, I'm gonna expand on this a bit, and we could also talk for
I say
hours
go
on
for an
this.
hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite a topic, no? And the people really care. The community really cares. What happens is that actually 1% of public allocation is quite often the case. And people think that, oh, when the total token supply is 100%, that 90% or 40% go to the public at the IDO. But that's not how it works, because what happens is that before the public participates in the IDO, there is half a year to a year of work where people have already invested their time, sweat, and their money. And that's the investors, VC and others. And so these people have like given time and money much earlier than the public. So it's only fair that if they bear such a big risk, because most projects actually don't even survive that initial stage, that they also get more tokens is the one thing, you know. Then the other part is when you look at tokenomics, you need a massive amount of tokens in order for the project to be sustainable over a longer period of time. Once all the tokens are out, there is no tokenomics left.
Yep.
So you need to actually put aside a good amount of tokens for things like staking, for listings, and so on. Liquidity is a big issue. And giving out old tokens doesn't solve anything. It actually breaks down the viability, long-term viability of the project. So rather than saying like, oh, why is it only 1%? It's that actually 1% is an entrance window for the public to come in when actually they didn't do much, or actually, arguably they didn't do anything before, because they only come in when everything is done. No, it's like, oh, the cake is finished. Can I please eat it? And that's nice and understandable, but you can't wait until the cake is baked. How do you say baked? Yeah.
Baked, yeah.
And then people are like, okay, let's just give me the cake, and then eat the whole cake. So there is an allocation, and there's another thing too. I think one thing that is somehow, and there's no right and wrong. There's like 10 people, 20 opinions, that kind of thing, and they change over time. Is that the Algorand community is not a community that's humongous. It's a strong community. We see that online. No, it's like people really care. They're like, I want this. Why don't we have that? I want to see this. And they ask a lot of questions. We try to address this. But the community is a small community. So the idea that you can launch, let's say, a high amount of token, and this will just all be sucked up and work flawlessly, is probably not that easy. It's rather that actually when there is a new token coming in, the demand within the Algorand ecosystem is still limited. I'm not saying it's very small, but surely not very big, because
it's small.
Why? It's small.
It's small. You keep it real.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Exactly. Yes. Keep it real, no? And so we can be honest to ourselves and say, this is a small community. It cannot actually digest a token supply that's too high, because later these tokens are going to be traded. And there needs to be a constant demand for a constant supply over a long term. And long term doesn't mean a week. No, we all agree.
Talking years.
Yeah, exactly. That's long term. No, it's like in crypto, it's like, oh, it's a whole month. It's like, no, it's not a month.
No, they're like, it's been a month. Where's it at? I understand.
Right. And because there is a long-term supply coming in through staking and all these various pools or parts or allocations of the token supply, and there's a limited demand, you need to actually carefully calibrate the supply and the demand over time, over several years. Otherwise, the token will have these wild ups and downs, and we've actually seen that a lot, not the least with Algo itself, and many other tokens. So the quick, like, oh, we just need more, and that's not going to work, So, but so that's the one thing. The question you didn't ask, but you should,
Well, maybe
is
you did. Yeah.
right. Well, we seem to be online, and now I'm addressing sort of the stuff that's been written on our website, or not the website, the what do you call it?
Twitter
Yeah,
and
not the
social.
Twitter and all that. Yeah, Discord. Sorry, Discord. Yeah,
Discord. Okay. Yeah.
I'm still getting used to Discord. It's such a mess. No, it's like
Yeah.
lots of stuff. It's
A lot of
like,
moving parts.
yeah, you thought Telegram was a mess? Try Discord. Yeah.
I know I don't even like Telegram at all, but
Yeah, man, it's like all over. And you're like, whoa, yeah.
yeah.
But the past 2 days, one thing has come up, and I actually just addressed that today in Discord, was, oh, you guys seem to be changing your mind and wavering, no? And then I responded very simple, yes, totally. Why? Yeah, because it's in a DAO, we have so many people, so many opinions, and then everybody kind of knows that they're not necessarily right, but everybody also kind of knows that, oh, I'm smarter than you, so my opinion is worth more than yours. And then you have all these discussions, and we're still pre-IDO, you know. So we're like, hey, what do we do? What's the right amount? When? What's the tokenomics? No, and
Yes.
there's no clear answer. Yeah, we tried, as every project will know that. We tried to look at other projects. Then you hit the problem that every project is different. Market conditions are different. The protocol are different. The
Yeah.
staking is different. Every single parameter of the tokenomics is different, which means that you can't just copy paste and say, oh, this really worked very well for project B, so let's just use their tokenomics. That's not, you can't find good template sample tokenomics and just twist it a bit and it will work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're wavering. We're like discussing stuff, like, but only 10 times a day max.
Only 10 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see. Let me go over there. You have an advisor for tokenomics. Because I believe all of this is important. Sorry, I do not know how to say her name. Navroop. Your
Navroop is one
advisor.
of our advisors. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what is this process going about? Like, what do you say to an advisor? Like, help us out with this tokenomics. What was that process like?
That's a process that started a year ago. No, so you have an initial setup, and then maybe at the very beginning you do start with sort of copying template from project B. You know,
yeah,
and then the project develops, the tokenomics change because the business model changes, and obviously in our case with the Sigma pool, things get really complicated. So when you have two tokens that are interlinked, it gets really tricky. We've seen that in discussions with our initial backers and the VCs. They were asking, like, well, how does this exactly work in detail with regard to the Sigma pool? No, and then we have a paper on that. And yeah, it's still, I think in crypto, let's be real, it's still early days.
yes.
So you keep tweaking it and keep tweaking it. And at the end, what comes out after 1 year is completely different from what you started with. And then you have, and I want to say that, legitimate concerns from outside. No, everybody has an opinion, and then we try to twist it a bit. But also one issue is, and I think you could be making cars or paper planes or whatever. When you have a lot of cooks and a lot of opinions, and you try to mash it all in and address everybody's concerns, you come up with that Frankenstein tokenomics,
Yeah.
which nobody understands. So we've had that internally, where people came up with, you know, the super staking, and then this, but not this, but an exception, and this on top of that. And then some of us, we're all not totally dumb, but we're like, wow, you know what? I didn't understand that. Like, I'm not following. What are you trying to build? Because it got too complicated, no? And then you need to rip stuff apart again and say, let's make it easier and not address every single smallest issue. When you say, oh, but what about the guy that comes in after 3 months and then he wants to stake after 7 months, but then when he sells, he actually would make less than the guy that comes in after 1 month. And it's like, yeah, there's so many cases now, and you can't make it perfect for everybody. because that's just not possible. And different people have different needs. So some people, and I'm addressing that too,
Yep.
have the idea that they come in for a quick buck and come in and out and leave and come and go. And that's maybe not something that we, from a project perspective, want, because we have that long-term vision. And then some people will say, oh, but I will invest very small. I want to have the same voice as the guy who invests more. But that's probably not what the guy who invested or the girl who invested more says, no, because the girl that invested more, she'll be like, well, I actually invested more, so I want to have a bigger say. And then this, obviously, this quadratic voting and things like that we're all slowly building in. But they can go both ways, no? Because you have in some cases you want to have more of a one man / one woman vote, and in some cases you want to have, well, who put up more money should be able to vote more. And also, I'm just giving you one out of like 17 different arguments. The
Yeah.
guy who put in more money may have a longer vesting period, so he may have a longer view, and the guy or girl who invested less may have a no vesting period and has a 3-day kind of view, So
Yeah.
how do you calibrate all this? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how to calibrate all this. We don't know.
Yeah, it basically does get complicated. I definitely understand, because it's like when you're looking at the retail investor, for sure, we know what the retail investor wants. He wants to make money the fastest, quickest way as possible. We can all agree on that. But I do understand the longevity of the project is more important than the quick buck. So that's how I see things. And I'm trying to educate my audience on that long term first thinking. And so, yeah, and two tokens. We got the ADAO and the Sigma. From my understanding, the Sigma. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Who can even purchase this token? So is it coming out? The ADAO's on the DEX, or is the Sigma also on the DEX? Because I know sometimes USA investors miss out on these type of projects because it's not like technically available to us. So is it available to US investors? And where would these tokens be launched? Like Tiny Man? Or like where are we going?
Right. Okay, that I need to unpack all this because there's a
Yeah.
couple pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
So
what I'm. Yeah, I keep running into people who want to know. They think in U.S. first. Most of my audience is in the U.S., so they U.S. first. They want their money. So I got to ask this.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So totally right. The ADAO at the launch will not be available in the US. So sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay. Good. We know now.
it's yeah. Now you know. Now you know. No, I
Yeah.
said it's not available. And what happens is that although we have legal opinions that show that this is a utility token, it's really out of an abundance of caution, because in the US things are tricky, and that's why we don't make it available in the US.
Yep.
So that's one answer. Then the Sigma token is not in as such issued to the public ever at all, but rather the Sigma token only shows up when you stake the ADAO token. So staking the ADAO token provides you as a yield the Sigma token. So that's how the Sigma token slowly seeps into the market. And when it comes to listings, although we're in talk with different centralized exchanges, and that's something we're doing also day and night, and that's not a joke. Like much of what we're doing, because the team is all over, it's actually not even one team. I always call it the team. So when you read my tweets, I will always say teams with a plural S.
Yeah.
Because it's a chaotic bunch of people all over, and yeah, it's teams. Yeah. They're working on this on centralized exchanges and how that could lead to listings. And at the same time, when it comes to, you mentioned Tiny Man, which is a good example. We love Tiny Man. The way it works on DEXs is different. We expect people to list the tokens on DEXs because that's what they do, not just the DEXs, but also the people. It's not necessarily something that we will do, but we expect that there will be people say, I'm gonna list that token on a DEX because I can. And that's actually true decentralization. It's not that the DAO or the AlgoDAO or the team around the AlgoDAO or the teams in plural around the AlgoDAO are like calling the shots for like listing over there on TinyMan. No, it's going to be the community that's highly engaged, and out of the community, people will say, "Why is it not listed on TinyMan? I'm going to list it," and then it will be listed, and that's decentralization.
And then the U.S. investors can get it,
and then it's all yours, whatever it is. Yeah.
That's okay. That makes sense. And very interesting because there's a lot of projects that is, I'll say cutting us out. We want in. So we do need these dexes to give us that opportunity. Before we're going to slowly start to close out. Can you give us the information on when does the launchpad actually, or the ADAO token is being listed, and then how we can, I'll say non-US investors can go get that token?
Oh, that's a tricky question. So the short answer is no. I cannot give you the answer, in the sense of we do plan to launch in Q2.
Q2.
That gives I love the answer because it gives you 3 months of a window.
It's like, smart. Yeah, you always have to
vague.
Yeah, give us 90 days.
Yeah, exactly. So now you know something, but you don't know. And why is that? I'm being very frank too, because it's not the whole thing. The whole machine, is as I said, has a lot of moving parts. So we're not even we're not even able to say like we will launch exactly at that date, way ahead. Of course, the window is getting smaller, and we're building pieces. We're really building stuff the whole day. The teams are really working on it day and night, even on weekends. But we will launch in Q2. I mean, if we don't launch in Q2, I'm gonna like come on your show and like, I don't know, I'm gonna eat something, maybe a hat, but but Q2 should work out. And then your question on when will listings be happening? We do hope that there will. Let me formulate it like this: we do hope that there will be listings, or there will be that the ADAO will be listed within a short term after the launch. That's really our hope, and we're also trying to make that happen. When it comes to secondary listing on DEXs, we don't know, but I think that will be happening fast. I think the community is so active, the Algorand community, as I said, they're so engaged, they really care, they support their own DEXs, they support the projects, which I really love, and that's why we're here, And so I think that will happen fast. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for those answers. One more thing that came to my mind: why didn't you go to Ethereum?
I'm a big fan of Ethereum. I'm a big fan of a couple chain, and people who know me know that. I've always been very multi-chain, and
I'm multi-chain too.
Oh, you're a multi-chain too.
Yeah,
so
you got it. I'm multi-chain. Yeah. My main chain is Algorand. It's the one chain, especially for educational purposes. Easy, but yes, I'm multi-chain.
So yeah. But I think, to your question, I think that has a clear answer. There's so many launch pads on Ethereum that there is you can add value with, for example, our Sigma pool. And so we're not even saying that we'll never branch out, but or maybe work together with launch pads on maybe roll-ups or something on Ethereum that we could collaborate with. That's definitely something that's on our radar. And then the fees. There's the fees. So actually, you need a launchpad that uses rollups, and there are in the making. So maybe we'll team up with some of them, or one of them, or that much is not so clear yet. Yeah, but we know we want to be interchain and multi-chain. Also, when it comes to, we're also thinking of launching projects on several chains, on several launchpads at the same time. That'd be really fun. Because you address different needs and different audiences. It's the whole bridging thing. That was also something on Twitter, I think, today, on the Algorand Twitter, in the Algo fam. Like
talking about that at the SALT conference, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, bridges are a thing. And then some person on Twitter said, like, do we need so many bridges? And my answer was, yeah, we totally need so many bridges. We need all the bridges that we can get.
Like I remember when Tiny Man, got compromised in January, we had 1 DEX. That was bad. So
Yeah.
1 is closer to 0, so we always need more. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. All right. Can you tell the folks where to find you and AlgoDAO?
Well, I'm an old style guy, so
If
I'd
they
say
want to
like
find
go. You're right.
you on the
Yeah, you may not want to find me. Yeah, no, find us on our website. That's AlgoDAO.fi. That's really the easiest,
Okay.
and it'll take you from there. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
There's a medium type of media for everyone. Yeah, yeah. Don't write letters.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. I'll make sure I put those links into the description. And one final thing before you go, can you share any of the projects that got accepted to your incubator?
Ooh, we just had our pipeline update call today. And again, because the Algorand system is or ecosystem is young and small, so we've been looking at a lot of projects that are around.
Yep.
And first, we couldn't find as many as we hoped for. Now they're showing up. Now it's like it looks brighter. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4 exciting projects, promising projects. Also, you see, you got me over the video, man. Yeah, it's like
I know. We're gonna wear a mask next time. I know because my throat.
no, it does look better. We got it does look promising. We got very serious projects that really provide value, that have like real world use cases, which I love. And no names yet, nothing done. But we have that clear pipeline ahead for the coming months ahead. So yeah, looks good.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, Nathan. It's been a pleasure, and definitely in this next quarter, you have to hop back on the show because I love to do follow-ups and make sure that people keep getting this understanding of what's actually happening. Appreciate you.
Hey, Seymour, thanks a lot. All the best. Yeah.
Yep, most definitely. I'm gonna slide you out. Hey, y'all. So another fire podcast educating about AlgoDAO, what's actually happening. And for the US investors, if you're watching, some questions has been answered. So now you know, make sure y'all run this back, reach out to AlgoDAO. We'll put all the links in the description, and we're gonna continue to follow this project. Again, it's C Will with the Passive Income Network. I am gone. Passive income, passive income, passive income. Gold in my dental, thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals, told my girl it was simple. We getting all this money to purchase rentals and get passive income, passive income, passive income. Gold in my dental, thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals, told my girl it was simple. We getting all this money to purchase rentals and get